could say my usual for how many times now? About 605 times? 805 times. I can say, this is America's Mayor live from Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester, New Hampshire. Maybe Ted and I, if we have some time, we'll figure out a nice Thanksgiving background for us for tomorrow and the next night. I kind of like that we're here in New Hampshire and in New England for Thanksgiving. You know, patriotic places for me are like New England, parts of old New York, Virginia. Oh, I love Virginia. Love traveling to the battlefields, Revolutionary and Civil War. But this is a very historic place. Remember when we went to Plymouth Rock? The fun we had going to Plymouth.
That was great.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah. Thinking how they came in.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So let's begin with the key story, because no matter what, it is the key story, and that is I got to tell you I got to tell you a couple of things first that you're not going to get it anywhere else. I think it's CNN has a report about turkeys. They're against turkeys. I don't mean against turkey. Erdogan could create that for you. I mean turkeys, like for Christmas. I mean, and most of them for Thanksgiving. Now, Ted and I are going to have a little more trouble eating our turkey this year because we became fond of turkeys. When we were in New Hampshire for the summer, as you know, we spent our time in New Hampshire for the summer. We were about 45 minutes from here, over toward the water, and we were on a farm all summer. We were on a farm. You know, we're farm boys, and not me for sure. And I had no idea we had hundreds of turkeys. And we were there 3 months or 4 months, Ted?
4 months.
4 months. The turkeys got fat. I swear, at the beginning, they were like little turkeys like this. And by the time they were finished, you could. This guy was trying to catch them.
I couldn't. Not once did I catch them.
And you were told you weren't going to get them, right? But you that challenged you more.
That did. It was.
Talking to Mike. You're a professional.
Well, I'm trying to bring up the clips we have of the turkeys.
Yeah, so I want you to know that when we do I always do a little piece on Thanksgiving, about the history of Thanksgiving and all of that, because I love Thanksgiving. But it is not my favorite holiday. I'm sorry. I know it's everybody. Oh, it's my favorite holiday. Christmas. You got to buy presents and you have to do all the work and this and that. As a Catholic, as a Christian, my favorite holiday should be Easter. And it is my favorite, and it is not my favorite. It is the most important holy day of the year. The single most important reflection for a Christian, that Jesus conquered death for us. And do I consider it the most solemn? Yes. Do I like Easter? I sure do. Really look forward to it. But come on. My favorite for fun, and everything else is Christmas. And I don't find that the secular things take away from the religious things. In fact, they just get me in a happier mood. I don't think I ever spent a Christmas, including when I was not as religious, when I consider myself having gone into a fallen away period, without reading some of the Christmas gospel or listening to. It was a Christmas tradition of mine for about 10 years that spanned the time that I was less religious and then more, listening to St. Matthew's Passion, St. John's Passion, and then looking for all kinds of other Christmas music, because I love Christmas music from both religious and secular. and I really want to become an expert on those. And because they're a wonderful way to become more knowledgeable about the passion. But you can't not enjoy Thanksgiving. Wow, so much to it. So we'll be talking about it quite a bit. And of course, for me, it used to be part of my tradition to go to the parade. More so when I was mayor. There they are. There's some of our turkeys. Well, this was earlier in the summer, Ted. They got bigger than that. Yeah, they are pretty big.
Well, at this point, I wanted to get the video.
Right? Ted, these guys are slow. You couldn't catch one of them.
So I was zooming in a little, so I wasn't next to them. And I wanted to get the video, right? I wanted to get the video.
Put the music up a little. Can they hear it?
Yeah.
You think they're on a date?
Maybe.
They look like they're on a date. What are you trying to figure out where they're going?
Yeah. They had a little spot up there.
You're not attempting to do pornography here, are you? Ooh. You see, they can fly a little, right?
Right.
You know, we lived on that property, and we had right on the ground floor, we had our studio.
Yep.
And we would probably try to use it for these next couple of days, but we're just going to be here a short time. It takes so much, it's a lot of work to put it together as a studio, put it apart, and it's far away from Manchester where we are right now. So let me give you a couple of the things that I want to make sure you get that are, the stuff that they're not going to tell you. CNN doesn't like turkey. Screw them. I like turkey. Dark meat, white meat. What you like? What do you like?
Dark meat.
Wow. Very, very few. Do you know I've gone to very few Thanksgiving dinners, my own family, extended family, good friends. When I was in Washington, maybe not even such good friends, friends. I never have trouble getting the drumstick.
Really?
It's rare that anybody wants it. Sometimes I even take it home, one home.
There might be some might be among people. There's only two, right? How many drumsticks are there?
Two.
So part of that might be good social manners where you don't, if I'm at somebody else's place for Thanksgiving, right? I don't necessarily want to take a limited supply. I don't want to take one or two drumsticks.
I used to be until I learned that in some, one of my cousins where I went to Thanksgiving dinner for about 4 or 5 years in a row, Dolores, who passed away, remember?
Oh, yes.
She used to make wonderful turkey. She used to make 2 turkeys because in her case, she had a lot of boys and they all wanted a drumstick. So she had 4 drumsticks. But even then they would only eat like 2, me and one other. And there was always one left over. Well, I like turkey. And right. I'm glad CNN doesn't because there's nothing we agree on now. I don't know. They make a big thing about it's not that good and it really isn't a tradition. And they really didn't have turkey on. Like the guy was there.
Right.
In 1620. He was around, this guy.
Right.
He met with the Indians and
but my point being there, I think people want the drumstick, but
can I say Indians? Look at me, Ted. We can be thrown off.
I think you're allowed to still say Indians. Maybe not. Native American.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't referring to the ones in, all the way, the rest of the way that Columbus didn't know that you had to go. Oh my.
Uh-oh.
There's an apology you can do right away. If you do it in 15 minutes, you're okay. I apologize to all of the Native Americans who were insulted at that, all 14 who were insulted by it, and all of the liberal commie simps who pretend they're insulted by it. Bad weather throughout the country. You know that? they're going to be something like TSA is estimating that it'll be checking 19.3 million people.
Wow.
Wow. And we'll have a meeting coming up in December.
Oh, that's
another board meeting. I'm going to ask him to do a presentation of how the hell they do that. Right. 19.3 million people. They are getting better. I mean, Kristi Noem has had a material effect on how fast they move, how efficient they are, even how nice they are. And I'm not talking about me, because I get usually very, very nice treatment from them. Every once in a while, I'll get a Democrat, but right. But would you say 19 out of 20?
Yeah.
Maybe even more. TSA is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday,
I think 20 out of 20. I mean,
they were so nice to me yesterday because it was very crowded yesterday. Right. Getting on the plane.
Yeah. It was
also, you should know. So watch the bad weather where it is. I don't think I'm not sure. I don't think it'd be terrible here.
Here, well, we have some forecasts that are out. Still predicting
like a grain
quite a bit in advance here.
But is it going to be like stormy weather or like a nor'easter or they're talking about storms through various parts of the country, which when you consider that the flights are still reorganizing, there is a basic shortage of air traffic controllers to start with. But it's going to be a lot better. And yesterday looked like it was going to be terrible. But we had a good flight from Palm Beach to Boston, right?
Uneventful. That's how you want it.
Yeah. It was on time. It was late.
On time departure.
On time.
Or probably early arrival.
Nice flight.
No bumps. Up and down.
Thank you, Delta. A little advertisement for Delta. Thank you, Delta. We find Delta in the main really good. And I would say, I'm not going to go trash anybody. I would say better than some of the other named airlines. And I'll tell you, I think a real surprise for those of us who have been spoiled by first class and sometimes private planes and stuff like that. I have no objection at all taking JetBlue. Whether it's they don't really have a first class. Don't they have like a little bigger seats and smaller seats? And
yeah,
not much.
I think so. You're right.
I can do either. For some reason. And there are some I can't handle. I have a bad knee and now with a bad back. It's really wicked. There are some I find like some of the named airlines are not as good at handling economy as JetBlue is.
Yeah. JetBlue
makes it very, very comfortable.
Yes.
Some of the other budget airlines that I've had to say are terrible. I mean, I was actually offering to sit on the wing.
That bad,
right? You read the same study or the same article I read, because we talked TV. People don't read anymore. TV subtitles, and it's good for them. It helps them if they read the subtitles. It helps them to think more. I never thought of that. Because I have a little hearing issue. I've had it since I was a kid. I had eardrums that burst open, and for years the doctor would tell me it doesn't affect my hearing. Doesn't affect my hearing. And I would say, doesn't affect your hearing. I go for the test. I do fine. But finally, I was convinced by my close associates and friends that I wasn't really hearing things well. And I'd always put the television up very, very loud, and I would use subtitles. And I'm used to, slipping back and forth and looking at both. I got used to it actually because in the Metropolitan Opera, they have the subtitles in front of you for the opera. So even though I have them basically memorized, a lot of them memorized of the operas, I still like to look at the translations. What the beauty of a foreign language and translating it, like how many rabbis, priests, ministers, and biblical scholars fight over the meaning of one word in the Bible, right?
Right.
and debate the meaning of one word. That obviously, rabbis, priests, and ministers don't fight. So that's interesting that you can look at the screen and look down there, and you can look down there, and you can continue your reading. You know, I've always thought the thing about reading that makes me even remember something better if I read it is it registers in your mind. You've got to do. Watching is a more passive thing. It really isn't, right? You got to look closely to see things, and kind of we make a little mistake, I think, if we're watching something serious, we don't watch it seriously enough. We lose the value of it, the full value of, particularly if it's a great movie, drama, documentary. But I think we just become more passive. Reading is, you got to do something to read. I mean, you can sit there with the newspaper, right? And you can make believe you're reading. But you got to read. You got to do something. So I think that is very good. But I always thought the thing my mother used to say, which I tell people, you create a word, you create particularly when you read fiction, you create a picture in your mind, right? The guy says, it was very, very dark at night when I went to the detective's office to try to employ him as a private detective, and I had to go through these very, very dark halls, and there were strange noises, and I always wondered, would a detective of this stature be in a place that was dangerous? But of course, everything in New York now is dangerous, and I just wondered, and then all of a sudden I heard this noise, and I just had to start, and it was actually him coming to the door, the other side of the door, to let me in, and then I walked in, and I was very impressed. I was very impressed with the unknown caller. Is it on here?
Oh no, it's on the other one.
I'm going to tell you a secret later. I'm going to tell you a secret about what's going on right now. Which is right there. There it is. There it is. It's an unknown caller. Let's see who you are. Maybe you're watching. If you're not watching, I'm not going to take your call. It's an unknown caller. I wonder if it's a spam risk though. I didn't get it on time. If you want to get me on the phone, you're going to have to leave a message. That is these unknown call, and you get so many of them, right? So Pentagon is considering Mark Kelly. Yeah. I guess it would be a court-martial. I guess he's in the reserves, right? Mm-hmm. For telling people not to follow illegal orders. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? So they're blaming it on the president. They're saying it's him going after his enemies. Well, they enforced a very strange code against him, didn't they? They made up laws that didn't exist and violations that didn't exist.
Yeah.
I give you 20. I'll give you just one. The so-called alternate electors or fraudulent electors. Nothing fraudulent about them at all. They're based on legal precedent, Kennedy and Nixon and two other elections in the 19th century, in which there might be a continued dispute after the Electoral College met. So they were allowed to put up electors to replace the electors who would be disqualified if the courts or the legislature decided after the vote in the Electoral College, but before the president was nominated, that a terrible mistake had taken place. Well, it was done 3 times, twice in anticipation, and once it actually happened. And the electors, even though the Electoral College was around December 15, 16, and they voted for Nixon, Hawaii did, all 3 electoral votes to Richard Nixon. Kennedy named alternate electors whose names were given to the Electoral College, not on some kind of fraudulent basis, but knowing that the electors that had been selected by the governor and the state legislature were the ones that were for in the cases we were dealing with for Biden. We weren't trying to fool anybody with them. In case between the Electoral College and the election, one of the cases being pursued, it didn't work out. Worked out. And a couple of them have definitive reports that Trump was cheated out of the state. So there was nothing illegal about it at all. It followed complete legal precedent. And not only was I indicted in two cases, Professor Eastman, who is a author of constitutional law text, teacher of constitutional law, was indicted. And then all of the people that served in that capacity who had no reason to believe they'd do anything wrong, and they didn't. This is monstrous what they did. You're finding out what they did now through Arctic Frost. I'm one of the names in Arctic Frost. I'm one of the people. They surveilled me even before Arctic Frost. They surveilled me shortly after I became Trump's lawyer. They went and got my iCloud account without telling me. They didn't tell me that until 3 years later. And won't even give me the affidavit, even now. Even now, here I am, big, important Republican. Good friend of Pam and Kash Patel. I can't get my affidavits. And my affidavit had to be phony as hell. The FBI came into my apartment and to my law office, which is also my security business, ruined my business. Actually ruined it, ruined multi-million-dollar businesses. About 2 years later, maybe a year and a half later, they concluded their investigation, and my lawyer, who is superb, a lot of people never got this. He was able to badger them into giving us a letter to the grand jury, and this is the language they chose. We've investigated Rudolph Giuliani, and we have come to the conclusion that we don't have sufficient probable cause to present to the jury that would justify further consideration of this case. And they were giving me no breaks, boy. Southern District was going after me even before this for about 5 years. They went over my business for 20 years. They helped to get me debanked by doing it. They did all kinds of things to torture me. Now, here's the point. In order to get the search warrants, you had to have probable cause. But there wasn't probable cause to bring to the grand jury. Where did it go? Into the wind? I would love to see this probable cause. I mean, it's conceivable. You could have probable cause, but I kind of think, I think this was a Comey number, like, the phony Pfizer affidavits, for which he should have gone to jail. This other one he should go to jail for also. So we'll get to those two indictments now. So the indictments were dismissed for several reasons, but the main reason was the appointment. The appointment is improper because under the law, the U.S. attorney appointed by the president that isn't appointed. I mean, the way to appoint a U.S. attorney has to be selected by the president, has to be nominated by the president, and every U.S. attorney, all 94 of them, have to be confirmed by the United States Senate, or you're not the real U.S. attorney. So when I became U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, that's what happened. And however, there are, of course, always lapses in that, aren't there? People die, people leave. Every time there's a change of party, very often every time there's a change of administration, from like Reagan Bush or Carter. Second term of Carter, second term of Bush. There are new U.S. attorneys. Second term of Trump. Most of them are new U.S. attorneys. Officially, they have to be appointed by the president. And here's the title. It's 546D of Title 28 of the United States Code. and it authorizes the Attorney General to appoint an interim United States attorney for a term of 120 days. After that, only the district court for such district may appoint a United States attorney to serve until the vacancy is filled. Now, what's wrong with that? This is a statute that wasn't properly complied with, they say, for United States Attorney Halligan. Here's the thing wrong with it. Think about the Constitution for a minute. Our rights are protected under the Constitution, of course, by the Bill of Rights directly, by the division of power between the federal government and the states, so that no power doesn't reside exclusively in one place. We're not Russia, we're not China, we're not Venezuela. We're becoming it, but we're not yet there. And states' rights, or the separation in power between the federal government and the states, is a governmental guarantee to some extent of your rights, that no dictator will emerge. Also, we have the distribution of power, right, between three branches of government. No one branch of government, we don't have one branch of government, and no one branch of government is supreme. And one branch cannot interfere in another to do a function that is exclusively theirs. Like the president can't decide Supreme Court cases, correct? The Congress can't decide Supreme Court cases. But apparently judges can take over the president's power to appoint his officials in the executive branch of the government. The argument for this is, if you didn't do it, they would leave those offices unfilled, because then they don't have to go to the Senate for confirmation. Well, Congress could alter that by finding some other method within the executive branch that becomes cumbersome and difficult. It could require, reporting to Congress, whatever. Here's what it can't do. It can't make a judge a member of the executive branch of government. And how about the conflict? The United States attorney appears before the judge. The judge is in that district more than anybody else. Everything is done in the United States attorney's name. Every indictment was signed by me, not on auto pen. It's kind of a conflict that they get to pick the person who's once on the single most powerful side of it, isn't it? And I think it's contrary to the Constitution. I don't see how you can let the president appoint interim judges if you've got to go through a special process, so it's independent, right? So, and it would be different because the president isn't always, maybe nowadays, yes, but normally the president isn't appearing in court all the time. Whereas the U.S. attorney, you're picking one of the adversaries. So I think both judges are going to be reversed, both with regard to the Comey case and with regard to the Letitia James case. But of course, the courts have done everything they can to interfere with Donald Trump. They've stretched every law, created laws, stepped in and tried to stop the use of the militia. How do they get to assess whether something's an emergency? Where does it say they get to assess whether something's an emergency or not? And my God, I mean, they probably don't watch television. The president is putting the National Guard in places where every night on television, somebody's head's getting bashed in. Or like in Portland, that's a city that we know has been a non-American city now since George Floyd. I know people from Portland who tell me it's like not being in America. The place is dominated by Antifa and the cowardly Democrat mayor and the cave-in governor are inferior. So I think both of these are going to be reversed. They're both done without prejudice to bringing another indictment. Halligan has been, I guess, effectively removed. So I don't know exactly what that means. It means the court will appoint the next U.S. attorney who may not be inclined to bring an indictment, given what the court did. But the statute of limitations, I guess, could run, and Comey will get away with another one, like he got away with the FISA court. I don't know how the hell he got away with that. Wow, just straight out lying about the Maine rat.
Huh. Here's Attorney General Bondi today.
Just get your reaction to the James Comey, Letitia James cases being dropped today. Back in Washington, James Comey put out a video. He said this matters most because a message has to be sent. The President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. Your reaction to the cases being dropped into that specific message?
Sure, we'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal, to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct.
What is your reaction to his statement?
I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
Well, the other way it could be done, which will give you an idea of how crazy this is the Attorney General could appoint Lindsay Halligan. Listen to this now. First assistant, the U.S. Attorney. The first assistant U.S. Attorney becomes the U.S. Attorney upon the vacancy of the U.S. Attorney. I don't know how long that is, but that would be another running period of time. And that would, again, that would allow her to reindict. But I think there is some confusion in the opinion as to whether or not she can bring the exact same charges. I don't see why not. Jeopardy hasn't attached. Maybe that's more of a suggestion of, common sense and not insulting the court or whatever. But the charges of he lied about his involvement in one of the most serious crimes in the history of America. The concerted attempt to prevent a president from being elected by false and fraudulent means. And then worse than that, carrying forward the charge after it had been proven by his own agency to be false, carrying it forward in an attempt to remove a lawfully elected president based on purchased false testimony, purchased by Hillary Clinton through the Perkins Coie law firm to the guy who wrote it based on Ukrainian, not Russian sources. So we'll see. The James case is a little different. I mean, the James case is a just straight out fraud case. It's exactly what her case against Trump wasn't. Charges against Trump, nobody lost any money, and everybody was happy with the transaction. Charges against her, she took money from the government and from the banks in the way in which she went about falsely stating she had two primary residences, one of which she hardly ever was there. In fact, it was used as a crime den, according to the local police. And I don't know, maybe in the interim, as they reindict her, they can find out what the hell she knew about her. Was it a niece? getting
Her niece.
and how many times did they go to her primary residence, the police? 30 times?
So many times.
It was considered a crime location.
Right.
So the Attorney General in New York, claiming this was a primary residence in Virginia, did it in order to make money and have a lower interest rate, better terms for the mortgage, pay less taxes, all of which is cheating the government or the bank out of money. She, I guess every rule has an exception, Ted.
Yeah.
I mean, she did state over and over again to the point of ad nauseum and complete analysis of a New York accent. Right?
Right.
No one is above the law.
Repeatedly.
No one is above the law. No one is above the law except me. Screw them. I'm a crooked New York Democrat. I'm above the law. We've been above the law for 170 years. Just don't tell anybody. So I guess, now here's an interesting one. Mondani was very excited that Letitia James had been cleared, which means he's just the good old socialist, communist, Islamic terrorist sympathizer. He's also a big supporter of the 170-year Democratic crookedness in New York.
Yep.
He's just a really good part of it. And this is after the president treated him like his long-lost son. This is like, this thing is confusing people like the parable of the prodigal son in the Bible, except I can give you the answer to that one. But Mondani didn't seem terribly impressed with President Trump when he was out of the Oval Office. You have the little piece on Sunday, the little squirm on Sunday? This is right after all that, what a nice U.S. attorney you are. Oh, what a wonderful president you are. You're so concerned about New York and get in there. Yes, you really surprised me. I mean, you actually are English. You can actually speak English.
So is this which?
I have no idea what Mondani could have said to the president to have him praise him that much. The guy doesn't have one single good idea in his whole head. Right. I mean, even the thing about affordability, every single thing he has proposed would make things more unaffordable, and it's like rent control. It's proven by most liberal left-wing economists would find most of his economic theories disastrous and very, very damaging to the poor, which is what socialists do in order to maintain power over the poor. Socialism is an economic theory that is an integral part of the communist political system. It's not accidental that the father of socialism is the father of communism, Karl Marx. And there hasn't been a country that has really tried straight out socialism that hasn't failed or isn't in the process of failing, like some in Europe now. I mean, people in France want to get paid overtime after 30 hours. They work 8 months. Yeah. Sounds like a member of the teachers union.
This is Mamdani on Meet the Press on Sunday.
Did they have
a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer, then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay, you can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
We have another clip. This one's not as clear.
I guess he doesn't consider the charge fascist really that serious because he's a communist.
Right.
And communists are worse than fascists in terms of what they've done to society in terms of gross damage. I guess if the fascists had as much control as they did, they do as much damage as well. And of course, fascists are socialists. You do know that, don't you? I mean, they are socialists with a fascist political system, which is a dictatorship. But basically, they are governed by socialist economic principles, probably not as strict, more exceptions to it. Now, the fact that all the fascist leaders are billionaires or millionaires shouldn't fool you, because so are all the communist leaders, right?
Right.
You can see it with Black Lives Matter, which was a communist organization, self-proclaimed communist organization. As soon as the leaders, Patrice Cullors and others they stole all the money and went and got multi-million-dollar houses and lived like millionaires. That's exactly what communism does. It steals from the poor and gives to the rich. Or it steals from the middle class and gives to the rich. It doesn't really give that much to the poor. And doesn't steal from them.
Right.
So Mondani is...
There's another clip from the
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
You see President Trump, you have a meeting with him, and all of a sudden you turn into a quiet little bitch. Whatever happened to all that shit you were talking before?
Oh, that was not a real clip. Sorry. That was
I'm sorry. We apologize.
it was funny. It was funny, but
She's too serious to do something like that.
call him a little bitch. Got me. That's the first time they got me, right?
But he did. I mean, it was strange to see him sit on his lap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the president has a lot of people there.
I think the president, in a way,
I thought he, I
kind of
thought-
put him in his place.
I thought he had him sit on his lap.
Yeah. Mamdani was,
You thought
I mean, Trump was the president.
there's no question
came-
that Trump was. When I
The
saw
alpha.
the picture, I thought the picture was fabulous. President sitting, he's standing up.
Yeah.
But
And
some of his praise of him. I'm sorry, Mr. President, just isn't true.
right, and some people argue, you don't want to, in a way, you're inviting somebody with those views into the people's house.
Well, because, one of the things we have to train young people, educate them. The young people prefer socialism to Catholic because they don't understand socialism. They don't learn history anymore. We know they don't know geography. I mean, none of them can pick out a place on the map if you give them 20 hints. It makes socialism that much more acceptable. It's like it's like legalizing marijuana and gambling. And the idea was if you legalize gambling, there's a great article today about that. If you legalize gambling, the illegal gambling would go away. No. If you legalize gambling, you're going to make it more acceptable. There's going to be a lot more gambling, and there's going to be plenty around for both the legal and the illegal, and a lot more for the illegal.
Right.
If you want, go see it on our podcast with Michael Francis. It's available on X. It's the first part of a two-part discussion with Michael about his life in the mafia, and then how he changed. And then the second part is going to be, we have already discussed how he changed, or part of it. We'll go into more detail on that. And then the kind of switch around of his life, what he's doing now, which is equally, it's more fascinating, actually, and certainly much better. We're also right now, and I might as well talk about it now. You have a few of the clips ready, or do you want me to go on to another subject for a little bit? I can do that.
Yeah, which one do we want to play
So-
first?
Well, I thought we'd play a little of the more shocking of his state. Yeah. I guess Fuentes and Mondani, who were described as yin and yang. One guy, the Republicans are going crazy over Mondani, beating him up and getting elected on the idiocy of Democrats electing a communist, which the president took a little of the sting out of. A little of the. You treat him like he's like a normal mayor. he just isn't a normal mayor. I couldn't do it. Sorry. I could not do it.
Right.
But in any event,
You want
Fuentes is doing us a lot of damage because beyond the politics of it, what votes it gets and what votes it doesn't get. A guy like Mondani erodes the moral base of the Democrat Party because his views are completely quintessentially anti-American. They conflict with the views of our founding fathers. Communism does. Communism and socialism together is a complete is treason from the point of view of our Constitution. Well, so is fascism, and so is agreement with the Nazis, and so it's so far afield that it gets close to being treasonous, not necessarily in the prosecutable sense, but in the sense that we understand who we are as a people. Remember, America is not obviously a nation. It's a nation based upon common core beliefs. And if you don't have those beliefs, you're not an American. And if you have beliefs that are completely aggressive toward the United States, like the United States has to be destroyed so it can become communist, then you become a real enemy of the country. So we're getting out to the fringes of political thinking that get to the point of extraordinarily damaging to the future existence of our republic based on laws and based on a set of human rights that distinguish us, human rights that are guaranteed to us in the Bill of Rights from up there, from our Creator, which the socialists and the communists don't believe it. Basic creed number one of Karl Marx is that God is an opium of the people, that God is used to subject people to all kinds of deprivation of rights, and that he's smarter than God, including his dalliance with Satanism. This is who Mondani represents, and we'll take a look at the other guy in great detail, and the podcast should be out tomorrow or the next day, and then there'll be a second one to follow up on it. And it doesn't just concern the Tucker Carlson interview; it concerns who he is. And is it fair to exclude him, to say he should be excluded from the Republican Party? Is that a form of canceling? Now, the lack of rational thinking and the inability to do it is so damaging to us, because maybe it's because everything is spin and interpreted your way. But I want you to consider the difference between getting somebody fired from their job or taking away their bank accounts or whatever, and not allowing them to be part of your political party. A political party is a private thing. And you can't have people in your political party that don't agree with the basic tenets of your political party. If you do, you're not really the opposition. You're nothing. You're not the opposition party. So one of the basic tenets of the Republican Party is it exists. It came into existence, equal treatment of blacks and whites. Republican Party paid the price of possibly 100, 200,000 young men dying for that cause. So if someone wants to remember the Republican Party and we want to remain true to certain core principles, and he's a white segregation, he's in favor of a white America, then he belongs in some other party. He should have been part of the Democrat Party back before slavery. which is what they wanted. We believe in a colorblind society, a society that wants white male domination. The person who advocates that is just not part of our party, and he misleads people when he's part of us. So we're not excluding him. It's like saying you're canceling somebody because you don't allow somebody in the house you don't like. You don't have to take everybody into your house. Knocks on the door. They come in and they say, "I want. My name is Jababi Babu Bab, and I'm going to come in and I want to tell you about the religion of dinophobia." And you say, "Well, what is that?" "Well, I want to just tell you about it. And I have a right to come in because you have to listen to everyone and you can't cancel me." "No, I don't. I have to listen to anybody." That's why I'm sorry. I don't want to listen to the religion of dinophobia. Thank you. And you call it a religion. I think you should go to the mental hospital about a couple of blocks away from you. So it is in accepting membership into a party, retaining membership, that you define yourself as different than the other political party and give America a choice. So it's perfectly appropriate to say that a person has gone so far that they violated the basic tenets of your party and therefore are giving a wrong impression. It's also possible to say that some of the arguments that people make get beyond politics; they become immoral, sinful. I believe that these are all at stake here in this analysis, and I think you'll find this to be a very, very, a very well thought out treatment of it, and proved. Because, like what we used to do with our podcasts in the past, where we put Biden on trial and proved that he committed some of the worst crimes you can commit in the United States, and of course the press did nothing but mislead you and not tell you about it or change it, or. But awful lot of people came along because we didn't just tell you that he did it. We put the witnesses on so you could see them, the ones that would be willing to come forward, and the main ones did. The prosecutor who was fired based on the bribe, the prosecutor who carried out the bribe, 3 eyewitnesses, straight out documentary money laundering transaction involving the Bidens, orchestrated by Zelensky's boss, and then admissions that are the most powerful evidence, more powerful than confessions. We put that all out. We're doing the same thing with this guy, so you can make the choice. Obviously, not everything. You can't do that in 1 hour, but we'll have a second one, and then we're going to put it up there so you can look at it. So keep looking for it. It'll be on X, and it'll be on tomorrow or the next day, and we'll keep you alerted to it. And it will be an hour or less. It'll be very manageable. And then we'll have resources for further analysis. And the second part of it, because this is something I'm very serious about. Somebody's got to stand up to hatred.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago when I handled 2 cases, which you probably didn't know I did, which I mentioned in here, 2 Nazi cases. I prosecuted 2 Nazi war criminals who killed massive numbers of Jews and Orthodox Christians and Roma, gypsies. And I sat in a library and went through document after document after document, talked to witnesses who watched their father killed, watched coup de grace, watched mass graves. It's not something that I'm an amateur about. Probably going through that evidence changed my life forever. It did. I did change my life forever. And I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm a Zionist. I'm not embarrassed at all. I'm proud of it. So you have a little sample.
This is Nick on President Trump.
This is supposed to be a supporter of President Trump, or at least the press sees him as helping to define our movement. I want you to listen to this, and then I want you to say, how can somebody saying these things be defining our movement? It's got to be some other movement.
Right. Fundamentally about Trump. Whether he has good intentions or bad intentions, whether he means well or not, some people blame his advisors, some people blame people around him. Whatever you think about his culpability, he is in effect, okay? Maybe not consciously or intentionally, but in effect, what he is a demagogue. What he is a populist demagogue. And directionally, what liberals said about him, which is that he was stirring up the rubes, animating the rubes with nativist rhetoric and ginning up resentment against the system to empower himself and the people around him, and then brought the swamp closer to the periphery in his first and second administration, willing to say and do anything. Yeah, that all kind of turned out to be true. He says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history.
Well, now, how can you say he's talking for MAGA? Or he's representing me? I believe that what the things that he said are not only untrue, maliciously untrue. I find him a completely offensive little guy. And how does he represent me? Those aren't my ideas. Those aren't the ideas of the MAGA movement. Those are not the ideas of the people who support President Trump. So if you want to condemn us with someone who's part of us, who's saying terrible and awful or doing terrible and awful things, he's not part of us. And I'm going to show you in this that he hardly ever was. Right from the beginning, he supported Ted Cruz, who now can't stand him. I mean, this is another media. Now, yes, confusion to some extent exacerbated by Tucker, but it's him. It's the core of it. And you got to get to know who he is, not just what the press wants you to know, because they want to make him like the press secretary for the guy that's too fat to whatever else he called him, all kinds of terrible things, demagogue. And so a couple of quick points so that we can get you over to Dr. Maria, who tonight has a very, very interesting show. It can be really interesting to listen to see how she gets through it, because she had laryngitis. I hope she's better.
She sounded better.
So top of the news, Ukraine, right? And there's the Trump. There's a Trump. There's the Trump version that appears to give Russia most of what it wants, certainly all the key points. And there's the European version that appears to give Ukraine all that it wants. 28 points, but the key ones are about the future security of Ukraine. The European agreement would make Ukraine more secure than it is now. And the Trump agreement would make it less secure than it is now. So, and how wouldn't it be? It's going to have to reduce its army in half. It cannot be part of NATO, and it cannot have foreign troops to help it. It also has to give up its singular biggest defensive asset, the Donbass installation. And it looks like the agreement is crafted so that Putin next time would be more successful. He'd be fighting half the army. He'd have the most stubborn defensive system that he couldn't crack in 2 years, 3 years of warfare gone. So he can just march right into the most favorable way of getting to Kyiv. There'd be great limitation. I forgot also great limitations on missiles. It's quite obvious that what they're doing is they're trying to make Ukraine half as difficult to capture as it was now. The European agreement does the opposite. European agreement says they have the option of joining NATO. They can have whatever size army they want. They can have whatever help they can get internationally to help them. Russia can't direct that. If a country across the border from you can't tell you can't defend yourself unless it's trying to invade you again. So we're going to see how that all works out as it gets traded, who gets what, and then what's the final balance. But we'll tell you the truth about it. I mean, it's we're not going to sit by and not give you what you need to know about it. I don't know how you can possibly ask a country to cut its army in half when it's got a country next to them that's been trying to take them over and has taken them over for various parts of 1,000 years. This is like telling Israel, you should cut your army in half, put Gaza back, give them all the arms they need, and cut your army in half. Which, of course, we shouldn't do. We discussed the cases, right? Right. The president officially designated the Muslim Brotherhood as a foreign terrorist organization. That's the big designation. Domestic terrorist organization helps, but not much. Foreign terrorist organization means you can tie up all their money. There's a 30-day comment period, but yeah, right, go comment. Just call Sisi as a witness from Egypt, who will tell you that if they're not kept under control, they'll kill them. The president has apparently is going to recommend a continuation of Obamacare on a different basis, but is going to recommend the continuation of it. Don't know if he has the Republican votes to do that. We'll have to see. But that's more of a leak than a reality. Stocks went up again, big time, getting ready for Thanksgiving. Also, maybe more importantly, they think there's going to be another rate decrease. I don't know why. It has more than anything else, right? And we were going to talk about Coach Turner, Travis Turner, who comes from New Jersey, Union High School, I believe, 11-0.
11-1 or
11-0, I think 11-0, undefeated season. Disappeared. As they used to say, in the wind. No trace of him. God, we pray for him. So
we don't know. Let's see, share this tab. We got a picture of him here.
So if you know where he is, look, you see how exciting my son played New Jersey football. We're a top school, St. Joseph's.
Yeah,
you see that? That's what the crowds were like. That looks a little like
it's Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. I thought it was New Jersey. Why did I think it was New Jersey? That's what it was like anyway in New Jersey.
Right. The big schools in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. It's in Northern Virginia, too.
Yeah.
It's in one of those places like Fairfax County or something where parents can't have anything to say about their children, that the kids are property of the state.
Yep.
And
Virginia high school
governor.
football coach Travis Turner missing In what? I mean, yes, undefeated season. According to Virginia State Police, Turner was officially listed as a missing person Sunday after last being seen Thursday. Officers were reportedly dispatched to Turner's residence Thursday evening to investigate a complaint, not to arrest him, but when they arrived, Turner was no longer there. So that sentence alone has some people wondering.
Well,
what were they investigating? A complaint against him?
Or a complaint that he made of somebody coming after him?
Yeah, and so we don't want to speculate, but
no, we shouldn't speculate. Yeah. All we know is there's a fact that has to be elucidated and taken a look at, which is what was the complaint about. And the complaint could be about any number of things. People think of domestic violence, but that can be for or against, right?
Yeah, but as a prosecutor, one of the best ever, that raises some red flags go up. I mean, an undefeated football coach of a big football school doesn't just go missing.
Yeah. Oh no, well, first of all, they got to tell us what the complaint was for.
Right.
But assuming the complaint was a complaint for violence, then it's going to have a lot to do with whether it was against him or by him. And before it was a complaint by him about his being in danger or whatever, or as a complaint that he was doing something harmful to someone. The mere fact that there was a complaint doesn't tell us a damn thing. But it will factor in very, very strongly into the investigation. And if you knew it, you probably could come to some pretty good conclusions, whether it was a kidnapping or he was afraid and ran away.
There was something.
Right? We don't know what it is. Yeah. So let's not speculate.
We're not speculating.
Good. The family's got enough of a problem without our speculating on things we don't know about. Right now, it's in a position where we should just pray for him and pray for the family. And let's hope that we have some good news about this before Thanksgiving, and that we have some good news about Ukraine. Meanwhile, there is the war in Israel is going on a sub rosa level, and Israel is eliminating the rest of Hamas. And this idea, which is another Fuentes bit of Jewish hatred, that the people of Israel are engaged in a genocide. They're not trying to eliminate the Palestinian people. They're trying to eliminate a subgroup of Palestinians that want to eliminate them and exist for the purpose of eliminating the state of Israel and the Jewish people. They were, even way back, their place from which they came were close allies of Hitler. The Arab countries, particularly that area of the world, the Grand Mufti of Palestine was a big ally and friend of Hitler's, largely driven by the same commonality of belief that the Jewish people should be eliminated. So killing the Nazis to liberate Europe was not genocide of the German people. This is not genocide of the Palestinian people, easily disproven by the 2 million Palestinians who live in Israel, participate in the government. And the fact that they're not massively attacking the West Bank, the only attacks in the West Bank are to protect themselves against attacks that come out of the West Bank. And the West Bank has Hamas there. They're not all Fatah. Fatah's the majority. So you keep taking a look at this. This is very important that we stand up against this right away. I learned very early in studying anti-Semitism, and particularly the Holocaust, because of the prosecutions I did and just the friends that I had, that you don't stand up to this right away. You let people like this creep into your party, your circle. They're like cancer. We learned from that it's like the broken windows theory. You don't let it go one step without stepping on it. This is an evil that's been with us far too long. And it's a pretty good definition of what kind of person you are, whether you stand up against it, participate in it, or just turn your back out of fear. Oh, please save us from people like that. We're going to try. And we're going to ask you to go over to Dr. Maria, who is on right now. And you're going to certainly, I think, enjoy her show. Make sure you go to X, subscribe, and you can see the Michael Francis interview, first part of it, and very shortly you get a little gift, and it'll be an analysis of the first part of this guy who purports, or the press purports to say he speaks for. Yeah. See how many Republicans have come out against him? Nothing like the cowardly Democrats who were afraid to come out against a squad when they made equally horrible statements about Jewish people, or the communist Islamic terrorist sympathizer who's the mayor of New York. Any Democrats come out against him? Well, a few didn't endorse him. That's real brave. That's real brave. That was Chuck Schumer. So pray for the people of Israel, for the Jewish people who are once again going through the 3,000-year sickness of anti-Semitism, Jewish hatred. Pray for Ukraine. A lot of decisions being made that involve their future. Hopefully, they're not going to get sold down the river to another madman, Putin. Don't be fooled. Killed people from the time he was a young KGB agent, professional murderer. And he conducts himself that way. Pray for the people of Iran. Pray for our president. And this week we add a thank you for giving us this wonderful country, the greatest in the history of the world, which gives us tremendous obligations. This is not said arrogantly. It's said out of pure gratitude and with an understanding we have a lot of obligations to carry out. So we are going to say, God bless America. And we're not going to answer the unknown caller, which says wireless call. They're probably trying to sell me a turkey. And I think we already have our turkey. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world. the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply